fugitive businessman Mehul Choksi, wanted in the PNB loan fraud case, was detained in Belgium on Sunday. Choksi was taken into custody on Saturday at the request of the CBI and remains in jail, sources have said. And Choksi was in fact reportedly living in Belgium's Antwerp. The last information that had been received by Indian authorities with regards to his whereabouts, and he was staying there with his wife, Preeti Choksi, after securing an F Residency Card in the country. Now, Choksi's arrest marks a significant development in the years-long effort to bring him to justice after he fled India in the year 2018. Now, he has been on the run from the Indian authorities after his alleged massive financial scam. Mehul Choksi, along with his nephew Nirav Modi, is wanted by the Indian authorities for his alleged role in the Punjab National Bank scam, where they're accused of defrauding the bank of over 14,000 crores. This is the particular story that we are looking at this very morning. In fact, we are being joined by News9's input editor, Brijesh Pandey, on the phone line in this very bulletin. Brijesh, a very good morning to you. The first question at this point is what exactly will Indian authorities be doing at this given point to seek extradition of Mehul Choksi?
Morning, Shreya. It's an extremely important development as far as, Indian agency and the investigation into Punjab National Bank fraud case is concerned. Mehul Choksi is a fugitive who was wanted in Punjab National Bank fraud case. And there have been a letter of regulatory LOR issued by Interpol against him. And, a couple of months back, the Belgium authorities did indeed confirm that he was in Belgium, but he refused to comment on the individual cases. Now, what is extremely interesting is that his arrest by Belgian authorities has come as a shot in arm as far as the Indian authorities are concerned. And it'll be extremely interesting to see how the case moves on from here, because what we have been given to understand is that the Mehul Choksi's lawyer will want to seek bail on health grounds and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see whether his lawyer succeeds or does the court, in view of the kind of fraud which has been done by Mehul Choksi, inclines to give extradition of his to the Indian authorities. If the extradition takes place, I think it's going to be a huge boost as far as Indian authorities are concerned, investigative agencies are concerned, because coming on the footsteps of extradition of Tahawur Rana, this indeed is a big news and a big shot in arm as far as the Indian agencies are concerned.
In fact, speaking of Indian agencies, we have Dhanraj Vanjari, former ACP of Mumbai Police, also joining us in the very bulletin. Mr. Vanjari, thank you so much for speaking to us at News9. As we were also discussing with our colleague at this point with regards to Indian authorities seeking extradition of Mehul Choksi, who's been on the run since the year 2018.
Of course, Mehul Choksi is an economic offender wanted in India for the fraud he has been committed and caused financial loss to none else than the government of India. That is a public fund defalcation are the charges. Now, accordingly, a notice was requested to Interpol and Interpol has issued a red corner notice for his arrest. Accordingly, this action has been taken against him. Now, further course of action depends upon our nodal agency, CBI, because we have designated CBI as our nodal agency to deal with the international investigating agency. They will move the process for extradition, and I hope in a maximum in a week or 10 days time, there must be some decision taken on this, provided there is a counter litigation by his advocate, which country where he has been arrested, the rule of that country, particularly Belgium, which is a hub for diamond market all over the world. So that becomes a major thing if his advocate contests his extradition and takes objection. So court will review both the sides, Indian government and Mehul Choksi's side. And accordingly, if decision has been passed, like as happened in the case of Tahawur Rana, when Supreme Court of America has just dismissed all his plea and passed the order that he should be extradited. So this kind of action is required now. Our nodal agency's role, CBI's role, would be very important and crucial. Let's hope in few days they will be able to resolve the issue.
Right, and Mr. Vanjari, when we speak of extradition, however, Indian officials had in fact earlier asked the Belgium authorities to initiate an extradition, but that is when there was an entire conversation about locating Choksi in the first place, and there were also health concerns that had been raised by him, wherein he was supposed to supposedly to get treatment somewhere in Switzerland for some cancer concerns that he had raised. His medical team had in fact raised. Are we looking at a situation where medical reasons might be cited for extradition to not take place? And if that does happen, how does the Indian authorities plan on proceeding with the entire matter?
Same was the point raised in the case of Dawood Rana. He has also taken the plea on the ground of his health deterioration. Now, what happens in such cases, the international criminals are much smarter and think about the law of each and every country. They have their counsel advocates who can help him according to the condition prevalent in their laws. Now, since India government request is already pending with Belgium government, the process is through Interpol. It's the international investigating agency being involved in this. So there will be certain things which will be definitely in the control of Belgium government, but not all. So even if he can influence the government agency of Belgium, they won't be able to help him through and through, because finally it will be the intervention of the Supreme Court or the highest court, whatever court is there in the Belgium, will take place. In this particular fashion, these kind of economic offenders are much smarter and they plan their strategies. Now we'll have to study his all entire strategies, whatever he has done to hide himself. We have to prove, bring those all evidence to the notice of the court, and court will pass the prudent action. Then again, I will repeat, the role of our nodal agency, CBI, would be one of the most crucial international investigating agencies' role in the case of Mehul Choksi. Let us see now what happens.
Right, it is a rather crucial juncture at this given point. Mr. Banjari, I would just, for our viewers, I would want you to explain a little about the two non-bailable clauses or the charges against Mehul Choksi at this given point, which under the pretext of which he is in fact been arrested in the very first place.
Basically, it's a defalcation of public fund and government's money. When this section is involved in our BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, you will find there is a punishment, life imprisonment, or there can be more serious punishment than that. So we'll have to see in such cases the offences are naturally non-bailable. Non-bailable offence, it means that bail will not be tendered or given by the investigative agency. It only can be done through the court of law. So offence and its seriousness one has to look into, and legal provisions for his crime will also be important to look into, and accordingly the decision will be given by the court, judicial authorities of Belgium, and it will be as per the request and as per our nodal agency performs their role. It's international phenomena where the countries are under contractual obligations, and when contractual obligations need to be met, they have to think very consciously, not only in the favor of individual accused, but in the favor of nations' harmony, UN's victims, and international courts, Vienna's certain regulations are there. They also need to understand all this gamut and then pass the proper order. Now, time coming will not only make us understand, but time coming will make us to learn more legal complication cases to handle and more complicated things, because still 3-4 men accused like Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi are still in the process of getting deported or extradited to India.
Of Nirav Modi, he is still seeking asylum in United Kingdom. So would you say once the situation in fact progresses well for the Indian authorities with Mehul Choksi and an extradition does take place, the focus will then shift to Nirav Modi and the rest of the accused in the PNB scam case?
Yes, ma'am, very rightly you pointed it out. It will be an exemplary case of Mehul Choksi. If our agency succeeds, then this plea or these decisions can help us to get the other accused also extradited faster and proper.
And are we looking at any situation at this given point where there may be a possibility for Mehul Choksi to actually get bail from the court of law in Belgium, since the arrest has taken place in that country?
In Belgium, he can get a bail. But that doesn't mean the bail would be conditioned to restrict the extradition. It will be against the international law.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Mr. Vanjari, for in fact explaining the entire situation at this given point in terms of what all were the charges, the non-bailable charges against Mehul Choksi, as well as what exactly is the process that will be followed by the Indian authorities now. In fact, let me bring into conversation Brijesh, who continues to be with us on this very bulletin. Brijesh, you know, we were just speaking to former ACP Dhanraj Vanjari, and of course, while definitely the arrest is step one and a big step at that when we speak of this PNB scam case, but there are complications that we are looking at this given point. Number one being if indeed he gets a bail from the court of law in Belgium. More than that, what is important at this given point is the health reasons, which you were also mentioning, that has been cited by his lawyers. So there are, complications that are lying ahead. But at this given point, if the extradition does take place, it would be yet another exemplary, precedent set for Indian authorities at this given point, right after Tahavur Rana, that is, wouldn't you say?
Well, you know, what would happen is that his arrest by Belgium authorities is step one. Step one is that, you know, whenever, since CBI is also an Interpol agency or part of Interpol agency as far as India is concerned, CBI had moved a red corner notice against Mehul Choksi, who was wanted in this 14,000 crore Punjab National Bank fraud. Now, a couple of months back, you know, Indian authorities and agencies came to know that he was residing in Belgium, and, you know, this was the question was asked to the Belgian ministers about this particular case and how a fugitive is residing against whom a red corner notice has been issued by Interpol. And in lieu of that particular Interpol, this particular arrest has been taken. This is step one. Now comes the more challenging part, which is, is because once he has been arrested, he is going to face trial as per the law of the land, which is the Belgium law. And it will be very interesting to see what his lawyers say. You know, his lawyers are talking about his old age, his lawyers are talking about his health complications and also the facility. You know, this is also one of the leaf which these fugitive takes when it comes to stall the extradition, is that the jail facilities in India is not up to the mark. So all these issues are going to be raised by his lawyers to stall the extradition as much as possible. But the Indian authority would also be pressing home for extradition and would try to impress upon the judges and the law enforcing agencies there that how crucial arrest or extradition of Mehul Choksi is important for India to make sure that they are in a position to solve and also bring to justice people who defrauded Punjab National Bank of a huge sum of 14,000 crores. So I think it will be very interesting to see how it pans out, because, you know, if you look at the larger implications, if you look at the macro picture as far as this particular arrest is concerned, that yes, if India is able to extradite Mehul Choksi in this particular case, then it's going to be a huge shot in arm as far as the Indian investigative agencies are concerned. You know, we got Tahavur Rana, who is considered to be the mastermind of 2611, and after that Mehul Choksi has become a very big, a kind of embarrassment for the government as far as his fleeing from India is concerned, will be a huge boost for the Indian authorities. But we'll have to wait for some time to see how it pans out, because his lawyers will also try their level best to stall the extradition as far as the try to taking recourse to the local Belgian laws. Shreya?
Absolutely, Brijesh. In fact, while we were speaking about this very matter, I was also asking Mr. Vanjari about if there is a possibility where we see the extradition does get successful. Would you say it will actually be a big step and a progress into the investigation launched in the PNB scam since 2018? And when I say that, I mean in terms of the focus being now shifted to Nirav Modi, who is currently seeking asylum in the United Kingdom, and the others who are also a couple of other employees within this very scam, who are involved within this very scam, who are still on the run?
Well, you know what happens is that whenever somebody who has done this kind of massive scam and fraud and is able to flee the country and is out of reach as far as the law of the land is concerned, which is the Indian laws, it is a bit of embarrassment for the agencies as well, and also it stalls the investigation which is being done there to make sure that the perpetrators or people who have championed this entire financial fraud are brought to justice. Now, interestingly, if the Indian authorities are able to extradite Mehul Choksi from Belgium, it is going to be a huge shot in arm not only for the agencies but also in the investigation of the case, because then the government of the day would be able to cite similar reasoning to go in for extradition of Nirav Modi and others as well. So this one particular arrest works on twin prong basis. First, it's a shot in arm because it will also send message to the other criminals who are hiding abroad and who are using the country in which they are residing, their lax laws, to stall the extradition. It will also send a message to them that that you are not very far away as far as the Indian law or the the extended law of the land as far as their arrest is concerned. It sends several messages. It also sends a message to all these people who indulge in these kind of economic fraud that that you may be high and mighty and would want to run to another country, but you will not be able to escape the Indian law. So it works wonderfully well for the Indian investigative agency on several fronts as far as Mehul Choksi arrest is concerned. And this is the reason why if the Indian authorities are able to extradite Mehul Choksi, it's going to be a huge shot in arm. But I think the first step, which is the arrest of Mehul Choksi by the Belgium authorities, is a big step forward as far as the investigation into Punjab National Bank fraud case is concerned.
Absolutely. So, yeah. And now we all eyes would be at whether at all if he gets bail from the court of law in Belgium itself, and post that we will of course keep a track of the extradition process, which has already been initiated from the Indian authorities side, but definitely a big step into investigating in the very PNB scam that had taken place back in 2018. Thank you so much, Brijesh, for joining us and bringing us all those details.